Hey, this is Helen with Porla and Pine. At the time of this recording, we are getting closer to the holidays. And aside from all the cheer, the joy, and the fun, I felt it would be a good thing to talk about some of the struggles for just a moment, just to see if there's anything we can do about it. You know what I'm talking about, right? The stress and the expectations that starts building around this time of the year. So I invited my fabulous integrative life coach, Diane Altomare, who generously said yes to have a conversation about this. Diane Altomare is an NBC and ABC emotional expert and has also been a featured guest on more than 30 local nationally syndicated radio shows, including CBS Radio and NPR. For the past 18 years, as an integrative life coach, motivational speaker, and workshop leader, Diane has helped people transform from a limiting past to an inspiring future. She's the author of 2 books, including Clarity, 10 Proven Strategies to Transform Your Life, which jumped to the #1 new release spot on Amazon. Welcome, Diane. I am so excited to have you here on the phone with me today. How are you?
Thank you, Helen. It is so great to be with you. And it really is one of those times a year when it is a perfect opportunity for us to connect and talk more about how we can actually enjoy the holidays when sometimes they're a really stressful time of the year.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I actually reached out to my Fika tribe, which is a community I'm connecting with once a week via video and email. And I asked them, what are some struggles you have around the holidays? And one of the questions I got was, when you can't attend every party, cookie swap, event, etc., how do you decide and how do you decline without hurting feelings?
I think that's a question, and that's an issue that comes up for so many people. And really, the most important thing is that we take the focus off everybody else all the time and allow ourselves the grace, especially during the holiday season, to enjoy. And that means that we have to be enjoying something. We have to be filled up. We've got to bring our energy to that event. So if we're continually depleted or exhausted or we're spreading ourselves too thin, then we're not really able to be present and in the moment. And I can guarantee you that your family and your friends would rather you be at less events and actually be present and enjoy the experience in the moment than to just do everything and show up frustrated and resentful and exhausted and depleted. So it's just really important for us to continually remind ourselves that in every equation, whether it's the holidays or any other time of year or any other relationship, a very important part of our happiness is us tending to what it is that we need to do in any given moment. And that means being able to say, I am spread too thin that day or that week, and I just can't attend that specific dinner party, but I really want to spend time with you. Can we set up a time in January to get together and spend some quality time together?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea. It doesn't necessarily always have to be around those few days, really, because as you said, I love that. As you said, it's much better that we're there present and, joyful because that's what it's supposed to be about, right?
And so many people miss the spirit of the holiday and frankly miss parts of their life because they're really focused on what other people are going to think, and are they living up to expectations, and are they making it all look picture perfect for that amazing photo on social media. And we really have to remind ourselves that the most important part of our life is actually us being present and connecting to other people. And you simply can't be present and in connection with other people when you're always focused on trying to make it perfect or, trying to be at every single event. It's just not possible. So we've got to give ourselves grace to enjoy our life, the holidays, the moment, and that requires that we're present.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It might be a little easier when it comes to, those kind of external stuff like the parties and the cookie swaps and stuff. But when it comes to the family, it might get a little more hairy because of course there will be pressure, of trying to please everyone in your family. Now we're talking much closer, right? Or even extended family. What are your tips around that?
Really the same thing, the exact same thing. It doesn't matter whether it's friends or whether it's family. It is so important to remind ourselves that in order to have connection with people, we have to be present. We can't be in connection with somebody else if we are feeling drained and depleted and exhausted. And I know so many of us can remember those days during a holiday season when we weren't even at that party, really. We weren't present because of all that it took to actually get there.
Yeah.
And all the preparation and all the work. And you see that a lot of times with the host of the party.
Yes.
That the host isn't really able to sit with people, connect with people, enjoy, because they're always serving and taking care of everything. And so we have to really make some choices around how is it that we want our holiday season to be. And I think that is one of the things that many of us do every year is we look at consciously, how do I want to set up this holiday? Do I want to be stressed out and busy and cram everything in or make sure that everybody in the family is happy? Or can we have the philosophy that less is more and cut out some of the intensity of things that we've done or the busyness and actually just be present with each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think when it comes to family, I think a lot of us feels like we don't want to disappoint. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have to kind of pick. There's only so many hours during these holidays days, right? And so we don't want to disappoint grandma or our parents or that kind of thing. So when it comes to, if people don't respect that, what are things that you can tell them if they are not on the same page, so to speak?
That's a great question. And that is what happens some of the time, that has people really just try to do everything. And what I can tell you in coaching people for the past 18 years is, and being an emotional expert, I work with emotions with people on a daily basis, is disappointment is one of those emotions, and guilt as well, that drive us to do things that are not good for us, that drive us to try to please others because we don't want them disappointed, or we don't want them to, we don't want to feel bad that they didn't get what they wanted, right? It's the guilt, it's the disappointment. And it's okay for people to be disappointed. It just is. It's okay. And that's one of the things I share in Clarity, where I talk a lot about how to process through difficult emotions. It's okay if everybody isn't always happy and joyful and excited all the time. And sometimes we have to make those tough decisions and just say, I really can't be at that event. And you can even say, I don't want to disappoint you. I really can't be there. I don't want to disappoint you. However, I'm really spread thin this year. So instead, can we do this specific dinner together where it's just you and I, or where it's just you and I and the family, and then we can actually get to spend more time together and more quality time. And just remember, it's okay. It's okay to not have everybody be happy with the decisions that you're making all the time. And even when you're trying to please everybody all the time, people aren't happy with every decision you make anyway.
That is so true. And I think just by hearing you saying that too, it's like one of those things that is easy to forget that, just as you said, it's okay to actually disappoint people. Like I can just speak for myself. I'm like, oh, hold on, really? Because that doesn't flow through my head. That's not an option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if I know that I'm never going to be able to please everyone 100%. I know that intuitively, but at the same time, I'm acting like I'm going to try and make it happen. You know what I mean? I'm going to try and make everyone happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay if you're disappointed. It's okay if they're disappointed. It
Mm-hmm.
is okay if everything doesn't go perfectly. And as we know from life and relationships and holiday seasons, things don't always go perfectly. And being able to process through how you feel as a result, what it brought up for you, is really a gift that you give yourself. And the holiday season is a rich opportunity to really take time to notice where you're being triggered and how you're being affected by what is either happening or what's not happening, and really use it as a time to look at those experiences and relationships and dive deep into those emotions and heal, instead of just bringing it with you from one holiday season to the next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm sure there are a lot of patterns there. And talking about that kind of pattern, by the way, let's talk about family drama for a bit, because I think most of us have heard it, you know, like so and so hasn't hosted Christmas Eve for years, or why is it always me? Or Uncle Joe and Aunt Jill always get into conflict about politics during dinner, or your cousin's wife or husband is drinking a bit too much and get mouthy. It's like the same story over and over. How do you deal with that stuff?
So this is a perfect opportunity for you to look at why those issues that you have with somebody else are still unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that is going on in your relationship with that person, if it's you and the other person, that has you feeling upset with them or angry at them or resentful? What is it bringing up for you? And I talk a lot in Clarity in Chapter 4 about relationships and really using them as an opportunity to grow and to evolve. So I hope that everybody that is listening to this year takes the time really to take that stock of your relationships, because every relationship is here to help us grow if we are willing to use it in that way. And so instead of having that relationship drama that you had last year continue to this year, into next year, and on and on and on, what is it that's going on in that experience or relationship that is bringing up emotions for you? And again, we're back to this conversation of how to process through your emotions or the unresolved emotions that you have with this person. And if you are willing to look at it in that way, it gives you hope, it helps you feel empowered, and you actually can use this experience to gain more clarity and more understanding of who you are and why this other person may be triggering or affecting you. And the same thing is really true about the other part of that you just brought up, Helen, which is, you know, what if there are two people that are really having a difficulty at the dinner party and, you know, it's drama and everybody's uncomfortable. Again, you get to look at how that's affecting you and what that is bringing up for you. And then the political part of it, I really feel like people have to make a decision before they go into a holiday experience, because for many people right now, people are just being inundated with what is going on politically in this country.
Yes.
And many people are at odds with each other. And it's very likely that something is going to come up during the holidays. And so what is important is to set a boundary for yourself. Maybe you decide that the holiday is a perfect time to take a time out from political conversations and that you're just not going to engage in them.
Yeah, why not?
And
right?
It's okay to do that. You don't have to have a political conversation with somebody, especially if you know that they get really heated about it, or that there's no room in that conversation for people to agree to disagree. And political conversations are bringing up so much animosity and so much chaos and so much controversy. And do you want the energy of that controversy at the dinner table? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah. And I want to back up a little bit. So when you said, I've read your book, obviously, I love clarity, and I think everyone on this planet should read that book. But for those that are kind of maybe not used to, how should I put it, kind of go inside and think about like, how does this make me feel, and kind of analyze, do you have any kind of very simple, basic starting tips for even, starting off trying to think in these terms, like accessing what's going on inside? Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. So, very simply, first, our emotions are messengers. They're here to guide us. They let us know what is going on within us when we're off track, when something isn't okay, when we need to speak up, when we need to take action. And for many of us, we ignore what is going on with us emotionally, or we try to cover it up or suppress it or push it away. So here are some simple things that you can do in that moment that you feel, let's say, just some frustration or even on the verge of anger. Let's just say you feel that bubbling up within you when you're sitting at the dinner table at the holidays. In that moment, just acknowledge that emotion. You don't have to do anything yet. Just acknowledge that it's there. Okay? Just being introspective. I notice right now when so-and-so is talking that I feel this tightness in my chest. I feel it like something is just stuck. And you just honor that. You just honor that by acknowledging it. So when I say honor the emotion, what I mean is just let it be there. Don't, go take a shot in the kitchen or try to cover it up or ignore that it's even present. Just honor it by acknowledging that it's there. And then what you want to do is understand in that moment why you're frustrated, why you're angry, what is happening for you. And it may require, if you're really feeling like you're getting heated, that you excuse yourself for a moment, that you go in the bathroom or another room, and you just get present to that emotion. And when you are by yourself, putting your hand on your chest and just allowing yourself to breathe into and to feel the frustration, feel that anger, let it be there. And the most important part is to ask what this emotion is trying to communicate to you. And I share how to do that by giving it a voice. So if your frustration or anger was trying to communicate, and it is, because that's what our emotions are trying to do, what is the voice of that frustration or that anger? And maybe in that moment, the voice of your frustration was saying, this is not okay. The way this person is demeaning a whole class of people is not okay with me. I am very uncomfortable sitting at this dinner table while this person is calling a whole group of people a rude name, a racist name, a misogynist name, whatever it is. So one of your boundaries has been crossed. That is the voice of your emotion. That's the wisdom your emotion is giving you. So the first step is really to acknowledge the emotion is present. The second step is to breathe into it. And sometimes it really helps to put your hand on wherever in your body you're feeling that emotion. And the third step is to give it a voice. What is it trying to communicate to me? And then the fourth step is really to honor that emotion by expressing it in a healthy way. So if you're not at the dinner party or it's after dinner and you can go take a walk, just go for a walk. Let yourself be with that emotion. Maybe it's something that you need to communicate. Maybe it's something as simple as saying, can we not talk about politics right now? Let's talk about something where we all connect, where we can all feel good. So those are the steps of how you process through your emotional upset. And you can take it deeper when you have the time.
And I've tried that one. You and I talked about that exercise a long time ago, and I've tried it. And it's amazing what happens when you actually just sit with a feeling. It sounds so simple, but it really works because it starts fading away when you just dare listening to it and sit with it and saying, I hear you there, and kind of, as you said, put words to it. So, yes, try it, listeners, try it if you can.
It's really powerful, and it is the way naturally that our emotions are intended to move through us.
Mm-hmm.
So we are naturally just intended to allow an emotion to be present, to feel it, to really understand its insight, and then just to let it move on. But often what we do instead is we stop it dead in its tracks. We don't allow ourselves to feel it. We don't want to honor it. So we go cover it up, and then it sits within us.
Yes, exactly. It's funny how it works that way, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the last thing I wanted to touch on is you mentioned already the social media picture perfect holiday, all the stuff we see on social media, the coolest parties, the family bliss, the gift extravaganza and trendy decorations, like all the stuff you have to keep up with, and all smiles and happiness. And what to do with all that? Maybe you have a down day, or maybe you feel like you can't live up to those expectations. You're just drenched in all this picture perfect stuff. How should we handle that stuff?
So this is a tough one for all of us because a lot of times what we do is we compare our challenging moment that we're having with this picture perfect experience somebody just posted on social media. So we're comparing our worst moment, right?
Yep.
With their best moment. That is the only thing, for the most part, that people post on social media is the stuff they want you to see.
Of course.
So just because there's this picture of an amazing family gathering doesn't mean everything was just rosy the whole entire time at that gathering. It just means in the time where that picture was shot, the people were smiling and happy. That's all it means. And what we have to do is really acknowledge that in the moment we're comparing ourselves to somebody else, we're disconnected from our own experience. And we are assuming that that other person has so much greater of a life. And here's the reality. Maybe they do. Maybe they are having a better holiday than you are. Maybe they are having more success than you are. But if you really want to use it for something good, use those moments of comparison to make a decision that you're actually going to create next year's holiday as the best one ever. That you're actually going to work through the unresolved issues you had with your in-laws and have a great holiday next year. That you're going to get about the business of making your life amazing, not so you can post it on social media, but that so you can live it, you can experience, you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can be a part of it. You can make a contribution to the people around you and really enjoy your life. And again, that is one of the things that comparison and some of these other things that we're talking about really bring up for us is it's a moment where we get to make a decision. Am I going to use this to grow and to evolve and to create something better for my life today and next week and next holiday season? Or am I going to use it as a way to beat myself up and feel bad about who I am?
And I think also question, is this something that I want? You know, do I want all this stuff, or who am I in this? Like, what are my values? Because I think it's also easy to get dragged into we should X, Y, Z, and we should do, etc., etc.
That is such a good point. That is a great moment to look at. Yeah, they have a perfect holiday season, but I'm choosing to do something more simple, and I want it to be that way, and I'm enjoying that. And the truth is, if we're really in joy with what we're doing, if we're really honoring who we are, the comparison isn't that stark. There's not that stark of a contrast. And so, we might have a little moment of, oh, I wish I would have done that for the holidays. That looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't going to totally upset us. If it is really triggering or affecting you, in that moment, you need to get about the business of making your life amazing for you so that you can enjoy what you're experiencing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, Diane. It's been such a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for taking your time and for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. If listeners wants to find out more about you, where can they find you?
They can go to my website. So it's dianealtomare.com. And also find me on social media. I'm at facebook.com/Diane Altomare, and also on Twitter.
Awesome. And I'll include links, I know, to your book, for example, on Amazon. I'll include links where this audio is shared, because I've read both your book, Clarity, and I've been part of Diane's book club and coach with Diane. And I can honestly say it's been life-changing. And I'm not just saying that, I truly mean that. So thank you for everything you do, Diane. You are truly a light in this world.
Thank you, Helen. And one of the reasons that it's so life-changing is because it gives you so much insight into who you are and why you're responding to life in the way that you are. And each one of us has had experiences in the past where we made a decision that we're not good enough, or that we don't have what it takes, or that will never amount to what it is that we really desire. And so what this really gives you, whether it's Clarity or the book club or working with me individually, is it connects you with what are those things internally that are limiting you from bringing your greatest contribution to the world and being who you're meant to be. And once you understand that and you know the tools that I share with you on how to move through those things, you will be able to create what it is that you want and that you're really meant here to contribute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better than that.
I absolutely agree. Well, thank you so much again, Diane. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Helen, so much for having me. As always, it's so great to connect with you and to talk with you about these really important things that all of us grapple with.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Here is to a wonderful holiday season. And please remember, you are enough.